Hi everyone, John Cottrell here of MBODY Yoga, and this is Soft Flow Yoga. Thanks for joining me. For this class, we're going to be working our core. So, in particular, we're going to be doing a couple of poses, plank pose and side plank pose. Now, this posture really will help build upper body strength as it conditions our core system. Also helps to open the hips a little bit too. So, let's get started. We like to start with some prompts, of course, some yoga blocks or a couple of hardbound books, and then just something soft to sit on. I just have my blanket here. You can use a towel that's folded up or even a double up on your yoga mats. We like to start in seated, so join me here, sitting up as tall as you can, nice lengthened spine. We'll take a few deep breaths just to get reacquainted with our breathing. So inhale here, just fill yourself up, and exhale with a sigh. Good. Again, inhale and exhale. Do that a few more times and just notice how your body is responding to your breath. You might notice kind of this filling up sensation in your belly and your chest. And the exhale, that nice relaxation feeling throughout the body. As you inhale, you might even notice the rise of your shoulders. And with the exhale, the release. And just continue with slow, steady breaths. Breathing meditation. Just starting to move into self. Fully arrive in the moment as you prepare for your practice. You can keep your eyes open if you'd like. Just keep a soft gaze forward or downward at the floor, or you can just close your eyes. Wherever you are, just continue your journey inward. Very nice. Breathe in a way that you can not only feel your breath, but hear your breath. So if your breath is a little soft, just turn up the volume so you can hear it. That oceanic sound, very calming. Let's add another sensation here. When you breathe in, just feel the breath rising upward. Imagine that your breath lives in your belly. You want to inhale to pull it up out of your belly to fill your lungs. So feel this nice expansiveness in the chest. And with that uplifting sensation, we want to keep that sensation as you exhale and draw belly button in towards spine so the breath doesn't drop back down to the belly. So we create a lock, the abdominal lock. Again, inhale, feel breath rising. Also feel the lengthening in your spine. Exhale, draw belly button in, creating the abdominal lock. Now this will help us in our practice today. Since this is a little bit of core work as well as upper body work, we engage our core system. Very nice. Let's take 3 more breaths and we'll add a very simple movement. Take your time. When you're ready to move, simply inhale and extend your arms out across the room and all the way up towards the ceiling. A nice big stretch. And exhale, extend your arms out and then back down. Good energy and effort in these extensions. So as you inhale, reach out as if you'll touch the walls and then the ceiling. Exhale, same thing, reaching out with good energy in your hands and fingers, then all the way back down. Go ahead and continue this on your own. Just breathe and move at your own pace. Notice the sensations in your body, the energy in your arms, hands, and fingers, the mobility in your shoulders, the lengthening through the sides of your body. Pay attention to that because we're going to do a few side stretches as well, just to help with our plank poses and side plank poses. Go ahead and finish the breath that you're on. Take 2 more, and then we'll be complete. Take your time. And when you're done, just let your arms rest down by your side for a moment so your arms and shoulders can relax, and just return to the awareness of breath, the feeling and the sound. Let's do a little side stretch here. I like to bring in my blocks here and imagine I'm sitting in an armchair, and so the blocks, even a big cushion over here, could act as those arms on the chair, just so that you don't have to come all the way down to the floor. Now, if you don't have any props, you can just bring your hand to the floor. So I'm going to use the blocks, I think. So I'm going to start by moving over to the right side. I'll start with my elbow. I'm just going to rest here. Then inhale and extend my left arm out to the side and all the way up with that inhale. Exhale. Inhale, reach a little higher. And exhale, start to reach overhead. So we have this nice side bend. And with the extra sensation of the arm moving overhead, you might feel a lengthening down through the left side of your body. And you just support yourself on the right side. Again, that could be the elbow on a block or some books or a pillow, or even just your hand on the floor. Couple more breaths, and as you're able, even breathe into this side of the body as if you're trying to expand outward. Now we'll inhale, reach up, lift up until you're tall, then exhale, let's relax the arm. If you want to, you can even roll that shoulder just to give it a little relief. And we'll do the other side. So your pillow or books or blocks, I'll just use my cushion here, just lean over to the left side. We'll inhale, reach out, then all the way up. Pause on the exhale. Inhale, reach up a little higher. And exhale, let's reach overhead. And there's that extra stretch. And only move to a place where it feels just right. You don't have to overstretch this. Now, in yoga, there's a lot of opposites. So you want to feel as if you're reaching outward in this direction towards the left side of the room, but your right hip feels like it's moving down towards the earth. So again, moving in 2 directions here. Breathing so you can feel that expansion in the ribs. And 1 more breath. Very nice. We'll inhale and come all the way back up, nice and tall. Then exhale. Let's release the arm down to the side. And again, if you want to, just for a little relief, a little circle of that shoulder. All right, done with the props for now. I'm just going to move these out of the way. I'm going to turn sideways here, just so you can see this next pose. So here we're just bringing the hands behind us, propping up onto the fingertips just to make the arms longer. And just notice how the shoulders also draw back, so we have a little opening through the shoulder and chest area. Creating a mild back bend. We'll tip the chin up and we're ready to go. We're going to inhale, push into the floor with the hands to feel energy in the arms. As you're breathing in, also fill your lungs. Exhale, draw belly button in towards spine like we did earlier to engage the abdominal lock. Inhale, press into the earth. Feel breath rise, fill the lungs. Exhale, draw belly in, and as you're able, squeeze the shoulder blades together behind you. Now we really have more sensation moving through the body here. It's exactly what we want. And pay attention to all these feelings. Two more breaths in this mild seated back bend. And then we'll lower the chin, walk your hands towards yourself to sit up nice and tall, and just bring your hands to your lap, let everything come back to relaxation. Since that was a minor back bend, let's take a forward fold. So if your legs are crossed here, go ahead and uncross the legs and just bring the soles of the feet together so we're in cobbler's pose. No worries if the knees don't touch the ground. If you want to, you can bring in a couple of blocks or books or even some small pillows and just let the legs just rest on the blocks so they feel even more relaxed. Again, you want to sit up nice and tall, so hold on to your ankles or shins. Then we'll inhale, get very tall. Breath rising, fill your lungs. Exhale, draw belly button in and start to hinge forward just a little bit, leading with the heart and chin. An image I like to create here is imagine there was a wall right at your chin, and you're trying to look up and over that wall. That will keep that nice spinal extension. I want to go a little further, not too much, just to the point where I'm at about 60% as far as the sensation in my inner legs. Feeling a light stretch, not too forced, doesn't feel overwhelming at all. And that's what we want to experience in our soft flow practice. No need to stress the body, don't need to push or move too deeply into poses where we might potentially harm our bodies. That would be against actually one of the yoga ethical principles, ahimsa. Ahimsa means nonviolence. And so we can turn that inward as far as that philosophy is concerned. No harm to ourselves. We want to treat ourselves with love, gentleness, and kindness. 2 more breaths. And we'll carefully just hinge our way back up, nice and tall. And let's move into our first core position. I'm just going to move my blocks out of the way. Now, I'm still sitting on my blanket, and I think I'll continue to sit on my blanket. I'm just going to sit back a little bit or scoot back a little bit. Now, the knees were out. We're just going to bring the knees up and together and step the feet forward so the heels are on the ground. I'm flexing the feet. That'll just keep the legs strong, even with the knees bent. Now, imagine there was a wall behind you, and you're sitting up nice and tall. And to help that extension through the spine, just hold on to your legs. They're like handlebars. And just lift yourself up. Now we inhale, again, feeling that lengthened spine. We exhale through the mouth and pull the belly button in so we feel that engaged feeling. Now we're starting a boat pose, a modified boat pose to engage the core. Now here I can feel this, but to add a little bit more tension, as if I'm sitting in a reclining chair, I'm just starting to lean back just a little bit. I'm starting to feel a little bit more tension in the abs. I'm going to inhale again, keep the spine and torso fully lengthened. Exhaling through the mouth, engaging core. You can stay right here, but if you want to add a little bit more tension, again, not too much, I'm leaning back just a little bit more. Now feel free to continue holding on so you don't fall back or feel like your back is going to collapse around like this. You want to stay uplifted. You want to feel like there's maybe a string attached to your chest that's leading you up and forward, but you're still gently leaning back. But if you find some balance, to add a little bit more tension, you might free your hands. I really like this variation of boat pose, keeping the feet on the floor and not really needing to lean back too far. It allows us to hold the posture a little bit longer to really engage and get extra strong in this area as well. All right, 2 more breaths. Holding onto the handlebars here and just lift ourselves back up so we can relax. Very nice. All right, just carefully make your way to hands and knees. Here you might want to unfold your blanket or towel just for a little extra cushioning for your hands and knees. Let's undulate the spine, moving through cat and cow. So inhale, let's tip the chin up as you arch the back. The pelvis tips back. You might feel your belly kind of drop downward. Now exhale, starting with the back end, tuck the pelvis under. Feel the belly button pull up towards spine, engaging the abdominal lock, chin to chest. There we are. Inhale to cow, that's the back bend, tipping the pelvis back. Belly drops, heart opens, look forward. Exhale, tuck tailbone under. Belly button pulls up towards spine. There's the rounded back, chin to chest. I went pretty slowly there just to break it down, but you can breathe and move at your own pace. If it feels good, maybe add extra movements here. You're not constricted to just this motion. Sometimes I like to add a little circling of the hips. That might feel good. So whatever feels right to you. Go ahead and finish the breath that you're on and take 2 more breaths. When you're complete, just pause in this neutral tabletop posture. Tuck your toes under, and we're going to sit back to hero pose. I'm just walking my hands to my knees right here so I can lift up and just free the hands. Now we were just in that tabletop posture, which puts a forced flex in the hands, and that could fatigue the wrists. So we're just going to counter that. And what I like to do is press or gently pulse the back of the hand into my blanket. Not too hard, of course, just very gently here. Even a little circle of the wrists can be relieving, even wiggle the fingers. Now we may need to do that several times in our practice because we'll be doing other poses where we'll have lots of pressure on the hands, like plank pose, for example. But our next pose coming up is downward facing dog, which will have that same sensation. So let's move the pad out of the way for now. Come back to hands and knees. Let's step the hands forward a little bit, even spread out your fingers. That'll stretch out the fingers and grip the mat a little bit with the fingertips. Just grip. And then kind of lean into the palms to help flatten the hands. And feel the energy and strength in the arms. That's what we want. This is also preparing us not only for down dog, but for plank when that's coming up. And that gripping of the mat with the fingertips can relieve the strain from the wrist just a little bit. It's pretty subtle. All right, tuck your toes under. We'll inhale into cow pose. We're just getting ready to move into the next pose. It's cow. Exhale into cat. Hold cat, make sure your toes are tucked, lift your knees off the floor, then send your hips up into the air and back as the chest and head sink down between the arms. You might need to adjust the feet a little bit. I like to tiptoe forward a little and take the feet a little wider. I even take the hands a little wider here too. Make sure the knees are very bent. Lifting the hips up into the air. You want to feel like the energy in the body is being moved up through the hips so it doesn't feel too pressured in the hands. Let's take a few steps forward until the feet are at the center of the mat or at least flat on the mat underneath you. And then just slide your fingertips toward your toes. We'll be in forward fold. We'll inhale and slide the hands up to the shins or knees, rising up halfway to a half forward fold. This little tabletop posture. Feet are flat on the ground. Knees are well bent, keeping the legs strong to help you to manage this posture. Your focus is down, so the neck is long, so you don't have to lift the chin up or lift the head up or look down. Just straight down with the eyes, long neck. Now shift your weight into your heels, bend your knees, lower your hips like you're sitting into a chair. Bring hands to thighs, push into thighs and just rise up to about 45 degrees here. We're in a chair pose just with hands on thighs. Just for a little support. Keep pushing strongly into the thighs to help you stand up, straightening the legs. Then inhale, extend both arms all the way up, getting longer, taller, and exhale, bring the arms down to your side. Very good. Our first standing position, mountain pose. Feel free to roll the shoulders. Let's give them a nice conditioning here. Since we are working upper body for our postures today, we want to make sure we feel some good mobility in the shoulders. So let's do our half salute to the sun. Standing near the top of the mat, knees are slightly soft here, arms down by your side, palms forward. Now, inhale, extend arms up. Exhale, spread your wings or arms out to the side. Bend your knees, sit back and down into the imaginary chair. Arms can come down even to your thighs. And then just slide down the legs until you're in forward fold. Release your head and take a peek between your knees towards the wall behind you. Inhale, slide your hands up to your shins or knees, only rising up halfway. We'll pause here for a moment. We're creating that tabletop posture. Now, shifting weight into the heels, bend your knees, lower your hips, lifting chest, hands to thighs. That brief pause in our chair-like position. Inhale, pressing into the thighs, straightening the legs. Continue breathing in as the arms reach into the sky. Exhale, arms return to your side. Let's roll the shoulders again. I like to roll them back a few times and then roll them forward. Alrighty. Let's get into a variation of Warrior 1, Warrior 2, and side angle. And these postures will prepare us for our plank poses. Okay, mountain pose. Soft knees, and start shifting your weight into your right foot. Lean forward a little bit so you can grip the mat with your right set of toes. Let's just leave the left foot pretty light. I'm going to lift the heel and just step that left foot back until it naturally stops, just like that. Hands on hips. Actually, first, we need to plant that left heel to the floor, then shift the weight back so you feel balanced on 2 feet. Now we can place hands on hips, push down. Feel as if you're trying to push the pelvis down as you get tall up top. That should create space around the belt line as you turn to face forward. We'll inhale, reach both arms up into the air. Exhale, bend elbows to about 45 degrees, or 90 degrees, right about here. Nice and tall. Little distance between the feet for this light lunge. We'll be doing a second version of this a little bit later. Let's keep this moving. Inhale, shoot the arms straight up. Exhale, arms out and down. Bring your hands down into your hips again. We're going to lean forward so we can put weight and pressure into the front foot. I'm lifting the back heel just so I can step back a little bit more. We're getting ready for our Warrior 2. Inhale, extend the arms all the way up. Exhale, turn your torso towards the left side of the room. Make sure your right knee is still pointing forward so it doesn't follow you this way. Keep it pointing forward. Arms come down to parallel. Reach like that. I like to turn this leg out, turning the foot out, just to create some more opening in the hip. Okay, here comes our side angle pose. We're going to reach forward like so, over the right knee, angled upper body here. I'm going to bend this right arm, bring it down. I can't quite reach the thigh, so I'm going to place my hand on thigh. We're getting another left side body stretch. We're going to inhale, take this left arm out and up and overhead. Reach. Working, stretching, lengthening through the whole left side of the body, right through the hip area. Side angle pose. I'm going to come up a little bit here, nice and tall, so I can turn, face forward, bring both hands to thigh. I'm going to lean forward so I can lift that back heel and step forward into our chair-like position. Stand up all the way. Inhale, arms all the way up. And exhale, arms down to your side. Let's do the other side here. So we did 3 poses, Warrior 1, Warrior 2, and side angle. Soft knees, shifting weight into left foot. Lean forward, grip the mat with left set of toes, leaving the right foot light enough to lift the heel. Step or tap it back until it naturally stops. We'll turn that leg out, press heel into the floor, shifting so you're balanced. Hands on hips, pushing down. Long torso, get tall. Turn to face forward. Inhale, extend both arms up. Exhale, bend elbows to 90 degrees. We'll hold here for a moment just to establish balance. Reconnect to your breath. Here we go. Inhale, let's re-extend the arms straight up. Exhale, arms out and down. Return your hands to your hips. We're leaning forward, again, putting weight into this front foot, lifting that back foot so I can just take a step back, just creating a little bit more distance between the feet. Let's inhale, re-extend the arms up into the air. Exhale, turn torso now towards the right side of the room. Again, making sure the left knee doesn't move. It's still pointing forward as you open up sideways. Arms parallel to the floor. I'm going to open up that leg a little bit more, turning the foot out. Side angle set up. So here's our warrior two, but right away into side angle, reaching out to angle the upper half of the body, rotating the arms. I'm going to bend this left arm, but bring the hand to the floor. To my thigh. Inhale, reach out with the right arm and all the way up and overhead. We'll pause here or just find that space where you can feel that stretch quality down through the right side of your body. Some deep breaths. It's also getting into the shoulders here. We're going to inhale and come all the way back up nice and tall. We're going to lower the arm. I'm going to turn to face forward, placing hands on hips. Shifting weight forward so I can pick up this back foot, turn it, step forward to our mock chair pose. Then inhale, rise up all the way, reach into the sky. Exhale, arms down to your side. Once again, mobility in the shoulders. Alrighty. Okay, let's continue adding on to our practice, our sun salutation. Inhale, reaching out and up. Exhale, bend your knees, sit back into your imaginary chair, spread your wings as you come down. You can bring hands to thighs again and just slide down the legs to a forward fold. Go slowly, take your time. You don't have to go all the way down, just to a place where it feels correct for you. Inhale, just slide the hands up the shins a little bit to extend the spine. Exhale, fold. Bend your knees quite a bit. Take your time so you can bring your hands to the floor. We're going to step back into our first plank pose, which is our featured posture of the day. Now we're going to hold here, but we're going to modify this in a second. Okay, you can really feel the energy and strength in your body. But if you get too fatigued, let's bring knees to the floor. We're going to do a couple things. First, bring both knees to the floor, tuck toes. Let's sit back, walk the hands towards knees so you can rise up. If you need to, a little conditioning and relief for the hands, your wrists and fingers, and even the upper body. If you want to, you can bring in a pad. I'm just going to bring in my blanket so you can do this, or even fold your mat or bring in a towel, just so you have some padding for your knees. Alrighty? So still sitting back into my half hero pose, toes are tucked, hands come back out onto the floor. I'm just going to kind of crawl forward, right out to the edge of my mat, and I can shift my body until my shoulders, I can sense that my shoulders are over the wrists. So here's a variation of plank pose. I'm just on my knees, so I don't have to worry about the back end of the body. That does mean a little bit more pressure in the upper body here, shoulders, hands, wrists, but just be sure you're pushing strongly into the floor. Even an energy of the inner arms moving in towards each other, towards the midline. Each exhale, you're pulling belly button in towards spine. Let's take another break. Tuck the toes, pulling the hips back, step the hands back towards the knees. Here's our half hero, so you can relieve the hands again. Alrighty, so that's our plank pose, some variations. Let's continue with our sun salute. So I'm going to move my blanket out of the way. Returning to hands and knees, that quick setup. Spread out the fingers, step hands forward. Press hands into the floor, strong straight arms, tuck toes. Inhale, cow pose, that's the back bend. Exhale into cat pose. Lifting knees, send hips into the air. Chest and head sink between the arms. As needed, adjust the feet and adjust the hands. Make sure the knees stay pretty bent so you can continue to feel the hips lift up and back. Press firmly into the floor with the hands so your arms feel straight and strong. Relax your head.
Ready for Warrior 1, our second version. Let's start by stepping the left foot to center on the mat. Then pick up right foot. Inhale, extend the leg straight back, straight as can be. With the exhale, bend the right knee in the air. Bring the right knee in underneath you towards your chest until your shoulders are over the wrists. More upper body work, but then set that right foot down. That'll relieve the pressure. Set the left knee down. We're going to shift the body back. Again, taking the weight off the hands, but free up this right hand so you can go get your right foot, pick it up and place it up a little higher on the mat. Replant that right hand. Relift the left knee. Pivot or turn heel to the floor. We're going to pull the hips back and even slide the fingers back right about here. I can rise up to fingertips to help extend spine. I'm getting ready to hinge my way up, but I'm going to climb up to my thigh with my hands, helping me to lift to about 45 degrees, just to ensure my torso is pretty straight and have a strong left leg and left foot rooted into the earth. Ready to rise. As I rise, I'm taking the arms out and up. Inhale and exhale, lunge. Hold for a moment. Nice lengthening through the sides of the body. Because there's a little bit more distance between the feet, you might even feel this little hip flexor stretch because this leg is back and slightly turned out. Warrior 2, here we go. Breathe in. Exhale, turn torso towards left side. Right knee is still pointing forward. Adjusting this back leg, Warrior 2. Side angle, let's reach out, maybe a little bit more if you're able. Rotate the arms. Once again, I'm just going to bring my right hand to my right thigh, reaching straight up and then overhead for the side body stretch. We're going to add one more thing here. I can really feel that stretch. It feels nice. Bring the left hand straight up and then out to the back of the room, like so. So the arm is parallel to the floor. My palm is facing you, but I'm going to turn my palm so it's facing the other way, which rotated the shoulder inward. I'm going to bend this left elbow and just bring the hand behind me, just to my low back or even your hip right here. I'm going to make sure you still have some mobility in the shoulder. You can still circle it. I'm circling it back and pulling it back here just to open up through the chest. Okay, so opening through here, through the left shoulder area and pectoral space. Let's inhale, re-extend the left arm all the way up. Right there, I'm going to lift up a little bit. Drop this left arm. Turn to face forward, flip the palms up. Slowly fold, bring the hands to the floor. Rise up onto tiptoes behind, right here. Pushing firmly and strongly into the floor with the hands, sliding right foot back. Here's our plank pose. Let's see if we can hold for 2 breaths. Bring knees gently to the floor. If you need to come off the wrist, please do. Otherwise, stay here for another 2 deep breaths. Very nice. That's our upper body strength, our plank pose. Let's return to down dog. Tuck your toes, lift the knees, send your hips into the air, chest sinks. Make some adjustments. Remember, you can always take a break. If you need to come off the hands to relieve the wrist, please do so, and just join when you're ready. Other side, stepping right foot to center, pick up left foot, extend the left leg straight back. And exhale, bend left knee, bring it in underneath you towards chest, shifting so shoulders are over wrists. And then just set this left foot down, set the right knee down, take that weight away from the hands, free the left hand, let's go get the left foot, step it up a little higher here. Replant the left hand, relift the right knee, pivot, right heel to the floor. I like to walk the hands back to ensure I can get the whole foot on the floor, good pressure back there. Rise to fingertips to start the extension of spine. Climb up the leg. Bring the hands to the thigh, not your knee, to your mid-thigh. Press Lift to about 45 degrees. Again, ensure a lengthened spine, strong back leg and foot. Extend the arms out to the side as you inhale. Reach up into the air. Let's hold our warrior one for a moment. Again, lengthening through the sides of the body. Conditioning the shoulders. We're also conditioning the hips because we're getting into the right hip flexor. Here we go. Breathe in. Exhale, turn torso towards right side of the room. Left knee pointing forward. Arms to parallel. Helping with that hip opening by turning the right leg out. Setting up for side angle, reaching out. Rotate the arms, bringing left hand to the thigh. Right hand straight up and then overhead. Like so, just briefly. Nice extension. Feel that stretch. Getting into the shoulder and also in the chest. I'm going to re-extend the arms straight up and then out to the side. My palm is facing this direction. I'm going to turn the palm to face the other direction, rotating the shoulder inward. Bending the elbow so I can bring my hand to either hip or low back. Just to a place where you can still have mobility in the shoulder. I'm just creating circles backward a few times and then pull and hold it back, opening up through the chest. A couple of breaths here. We want that shoulder mobility in addition to the shoulder strength for our plank poses. Let's free the hand, re-extend the arm out and all the way up. And rise up here. I'm going to drop this right arm, turning to face forward. Both arms out in front. Flip the palms up and fold. Hands to the floor. Rise up onto tiptoes behind. Hold for a second in this runner's lunge, just to ensure your hands are pressing firmly into the floor. Strong arms. You're going to slide the left foot back. Here's our plank pose. Ensuring your hips are about shoulder level. Neck is long. Look straight down. One more breath. Knees to the floor. 2 more breaths in this modified version of plank. And then we'll relieve the wrists. So tuck toes again, sit back, walk the hands towards yourself, and come off the hands. Wonderful. This really helps to wiggle the fingers. Alrighty, let's get into some side planks. We're going to do several versions of these. Let's start with the hand work. Okay? So again, setting ourselves up on our hands and knees like so. Tap your right foot and just swing the right foot off to the right side. It might just go right off the mat. That's fine. I'm calling this a kickstand. This is just going to help us with balance. Shifting weight into the right hand and right knee, so my left side feels a little lighter, so I can extend this left leg back, but just keep the toes on the floor. This left hand is light, so I can start to open up sideways like so, bringing this left hand into the air. So this is side plank variation, knee on the floor to help stabilize the body. Of course, we have the hand on the floor here, strengthen the arm, shoulder, and upper body. So this left hand is straight up, but feel free to reach overhead if you'd like. A little added sensation. I'm just shifting weight more into this front hand on the floor so I can pick up the left foot behind there, flexing the foot just to keep it active. Another side plank variation. Okay, let's bring that foot down. I'm going to bring this left hand up, down to my side. Turn so I can bring this left hand to the floor. Bring the left knee to the floor. Bring my kickstand back in. While we're here, 2 breaths, cat and cow, and then we'll relieve the wrists. Very nice. All right, tuck toes. Let's sit back to our half hero. There was a lot of pressure on the right hand, so it might need a little extra relief there. Remember, do that anytime, even during the practice while we're actually doing the pose. If you need to come out of them early, perfectly fine. Okay, here we go. Setting up for the other side. Hands and knees, same setup. I'm tapping my left foot, swing the left foot off to the side for my kickstand, leaning to the left knee and hand so it makes the right leg light enough to extend the leg, keep toes on the floor. Keep leaning to the left so I can pick up the right hand, swing open sideways. Adjust your kickstand if you need to for balance, and then just open up. It's our side plank pose variation. Nice reaching sensation. It's also a nice opening through the chest and hips. You can follow the right hand overhead, getting the side body stretch. Still some good amount of pressure in that left hand. If you need to rest, you can come out of the pose early. If you're okay, I'm shifting the weight more towards the front edge of my mat, creating balance so I can actually pick up the right foot behind me, flexing the foot. Activation, reach. Inhale, and the exhale to bring the foot back down. I'm going to bring the right hand up and down to my side. Already starting to feel the relief. Turn hand to the floor, right knee to the floor. Bring left kickstand in. 2 breaths, cat and cow. After that, we'll relieve the hands again. Good. Tuck toes and sit back again. That was more pressure now on the left side, so that might just need a little bit more attention. All right, so that's a lot of work. For plank pose, we did 2 variations, hands and toes on the floor, then hands and knees on the floor, and then side plank, we did a variation with hand and knee on the floor. So that's a lot of hand work, but can this be done differently? Yes, it can also be done on the forearms, okay? Just to take some of that pressure off the wrists. This does involve a little bit more shoulder and upper body work. So we'll start with a regular plank. So I'm going to come back to hands and knees. Maybe here, just so you can see the change from this alignment to a new one. So first, shoulders over wrists, hips over knees. I'm going to step the knees back, or step the legs back like that, and even step the hands forward. So we've changed our alignment. This should make it a little easier to bring the elbows and forearms down to the floor. At the moment, the arms are parallel, but you can change this. I like to bring the hands in towards center. So you've created a little bit more of a triangle on the floor with the arms. I need to scoot forward just a little bit. Okay, now I don't want to be shifted back too far. I'm going to keep the weight slightly forward. And I'm also pushing down into the earth, mostly with the forearms and hands, hopefully taking some of the pressure away from the elbows. I'm tucking toes with an exhale, lifting the knees off the floor. Shoulders and hips are parallel to one another, pressing into the earth with the arms and hands. The shoulders are relatively stacked over the elbows. You'll probably feel this more in your upper body and your core, but there is less tension in the wrists. 2 more breaths if you're able. Plank pose on elbows. We'll bring the knees to the floor. Let's take the knees wide and then just sit back into child's pose. Now the hips are just moving down towards the heels, but don't worry if they don't touch the heels. Mine aren't at the moment. You can call this pose puppy pose. That's just another variation. I'm even going to bring in my bolster for a little added support here. Again, just to take some pressure off of the arms and our core body, and just sitting back for a quick rest. Let's do our side planks. You can do side planks on the elbows too. All right, coming back up to hands and knees just briefly. Just moving my prop out of the way. My knees went wide, so I'm just going to bring the knees back in. But I am going to keep the legs back a little bit, knees out from underneath the hips, and then hands forward out from underneath the shoulders. That way I can bring the elbows easily down to the floor. Again, I'm going to bring the hands in towards center so I have more of this triangle effect in my arms. Leaning forward, again, getting arms or actually shoulders a little bit more aligned above the elbows. I'm going to start with our left side. I'm leaning. Actually, I'm going to take my legs a little bit wider, just a little bit. And leaning into my left elbow, left arm, left hand. So I can pick up this right hand and actually place it on the floor. So I can just kind of press and start to turn sideways in this right leg. I still need to make a kickstand with that left foot and turning sideways. Now, my right hand is still on the floor, just for a little added support. I have the support of the elbow, right hand, and right knee. It might feel a little awkward, but this could be a good way to start this pose. I'm going to continue pushing the right palm into the floor, right foot into the floor, so I can now extend this left leg underneath, turning completely sideways. I'm still using right hand on the floor for support, but if you're able, taking right arm up into the air, just briefly, just so you can feel the strength involved here. And then just bring this right hand down. I'm turning onto my toes, bringing knees to the floor, and then sit back into child's pose again, or puppy pose. That's pretty dynamic. But use the variations that I showed you there by keeping some of the limbs on the floor. For this other side, I'm going to bring in a block because I think that might help. I'll show you in a moment how. Okay, let's set ourselves up. I'm just going to lift a little bit from the child's pose. Right now, my arms are parallel to one another, bringing the palms in, triangle formation, leaning forward. More pressure in the forearms and hands. I'm going to tap my right foot, kind of make a kickstand just a little bit. Lean to the right, place hand on the floor, or I'm going to bring in my block because I think this will give me a little bit more height. Push into the block or floor so I can open up sideways. Yes, I think the block is nice because it gives me a little extra lift. I can open up sideways just a little bit more. This could be the end of your pose. I like this version, I think. One, there's not a lot of pressure in my right arm. I'm using the block underneath my left hand for added support, and of course my left foot is on the floor back there. If you want to open up completely, okay, I'm just really getting that left foot to the floor. I need to lean forward into the right arm so I can extend this right leg underneath. Here, turning more sideways. Again, this block can help me stay stable. Or if you want to go for the extra strength and balance, extending left arm into the air and then back down. Turning, bringing knees back down to the floor, moving the block away, sitting back, child's pose. Let's take some deep breaths here. Very nice. Very dynamic. Really working the sides of the body, your core system, torso, upper body. Let's slowly rise to hero, just briefly. Sit off to the side. Let's swing the legs around to the front. I'm sitting way back, but I need to scoot forward, so I'm sitting in the center of the mat. Let's do a bridge pose. So here you're going to need your stacked blocks or books. Make sure there's space behind you. Go ahead and roll down onto your back. Draw knees into chest. Maybe a few more breaths and some gentle movements here. I'm just rocking the body, getting into the hips and low back. I like to get into the feet here as well, so a little circle of the feet, wiggle the toes. And since the hands can be free here too, maybe once again wiggle the fingers, circle the wrists. And then we're set for bridge. Let's set the feet onto the floor. Breathe in, fill up your lungs. Exhale through the mouth, exhaling, engaging your core so you can lift the hips just high enough so you can slide your books or blocks underneath you and then sit. Adjust your feet if you need to. Now I like to get the shoulders a little bit underneath. So I lift to one side and tuck that shoulder under so I can feel a little stretch and opening across the chest. It just feels a little bit more back bendy to me. And just holding here. So not a lot of effort, which is nice. Feet on the floor, knees bent. I'm sitting on the blocks. I can feel the chest opening and just the arms relaxing down by my side. Deep breaths. So we're moving our way towards the close of our practice. So we want to get reconnected to slow, easy breathing. Three more breaths. After your third breath, just press feet into the earth so you can lift the hips. I like to pause here and try to engage the glute muscles just to strengthen that part of the body. And of course, move your props out of the way and then slowly make your way down to the earth. Let's extend the body once we're down. Extend the legs out front, extend the arms behind you, and reach and stretch in these opposite directions. And then once again, hug knees into chest. Let's take a hip opener. Just hold onto your knees or shins, lightly flex the feet, and just take the legs wide. Just opening here, a little light stretch in the inner legs. I call this a variation of happy baby pose. Of course, you can kick the feet up, keeping the knees bent, and reach up. Either grab ankles or the soles of the feet, whatever you can reach for your happy baby pose. But here's a nice variation. Let's keep this formation just like this, and we'll create a twist. So imagine the pose here is like an open book. We're going to close the book. So we're going to take the right knee, bring it up and over towards left knee to close the book. Now take the right arm and reach up and reopen it out to the right side, and that creates the twist. This left hand is just resting on top of the closed book. And just the weight of the hand is enough to add just a little bit more pressure for added sensation, perhaps, in this twist. Two more breaths. Now we're going to reopen the book. Let's start by bringing the right arm up into the air, around to the closed book. Let's reopen the book back to our modified happy baby pose. Hold. And now from the left side, we'll close the book. So left knee over towards right leg. I need to move my props out of the way. Closing the book. Re-extend the left arm straight up and out to the left side. Right hand just resting on top of the closed book. Adding the natural weight and pressure. If that's too much, then don't place the hand there. Or if you feel like you're rotating too far or too much, you've gone beyond the 70% that we like to work in while practicing soft flow, then place a book or a block or a nice rolled up towel or blanket underneath the knees or even between the knees so you don't rotate too far. Two more breaths. Going to reopen the book, so bring the left hand up and around to the closed book. Reopen the book to our mock happy baby pose. Let's bring the knees together, closing the book at the center. Set the feet onto the floor. Hold here for a moment. Take an in breath, Exhale for relaxation. Hold for a moment. Just letting the body settle, especially the low back and hips. Now you can stay just like this. Sometimes staying like this is a bit more comfortable than moving into a full Shavasana. I am going to move into full Shavasana by extending the legs, but sometimes, just lying on your back, lying flat on your back on the floor isn't the most comfortable. It might actually aggravate your low back. So if that's not correct for you, bend the knees. That might provide a little bit more relief, or add some padding underneath you, using your blanket or a pillow and just placing them in the appropriate places for that support. And wherever you are, just settle into your body. Release and relax. Return to the sound and feeling of your breath. You've done your work, and it was hard work today, very dynamic. Now it's time to rest. Eyes can gaze softly upward, or close your eyes and take your journey inward. Inward to meditation. Feel free to stay here as long as you'd like. Even as I end the practice and come up to seated, feel free to stay in your comfortable restorative position, whether it's Shavasana or some other supported body pose. When you are ready to move, start with 5 slow, deep breaths. Begin to feel movement return to your body, this movement generating energy in your body. Experience breath moving through your entire body as well. When you're ready to move, take your time, move as slowly as you can. You might start by rolling carefully to one side, lying on your side in a nurturing pose, and continue to move as slowly as you can, rising up to seated. Sitting up nice and tall, lengthened spine. And at first, let's just rest our hands on our knees or in our laps. Take a nice deep breath in and exhale. And then one last movement together. Inhale, extend your arms out and up. As you exhale, bring your palms together and down to your heart, taking one last breath fully in, completely out. And as we come to the close of our practice together, we bow, saying, Namaste.
Thank you so much for watching and participating in this yoga lesson. To help us with the channel so we can continue to bring you more content, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. It's really appreciated. Namaste.